back, everyone, to the third episode of the Kyle's Korner podcast. I'm here with a surprisingly new guest, but not a new guest to my life. His name is Guy, the woman slayer.
We should maybe say my actual name since this is my first appearance. Unfortunately, my given name is not Guy.
His real name is Brian. We'll call him Guy, the woman slayer supreme.
Wow, it's quite the title.
So, Brian, you would say we've had a pretty good friendship. We've known each other for 7 or 8 years, about?
Yeah, I actually met you at almost the exact same time as fellow Sody Boys co-host Nick.
I think we met earlier, because we auditioned together in the musical without realizing at first. For Once Upon a Mattress.
Yeah, but didn't all three of us meet there at the same time?
I remember, Brian.
I remember me and Nick and you standing together practicing the dance, and Nick and I are like, who is this awesome kid?
Okay, Brian. Now that we set you up, he's a good guy. Brian loves Star Wars as well. He's a very avid Star Wars fan. He keeps up to date with all the current news events. Would you say, Brian, you're very up to date with the Star Wars lore? And
yeah, definitely.
We're here today to talk about some future and current Star Wars events that are going on right now in 2019, 9 p.m.
Current and future going on right now. I think I follow you.
You think it doesn't make any sense, but I'm trying to make sense. So our first topic today, I think, is going to be the newest addition to the Disney Park franchise, which is the Galaxy Edge Star Wars Land, which I believe it's right in California and Florida, right, Brian? It's in both parks.
Well, so it's going to be. It opened in California as of the time we're recording this just 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah, May 31st. And it will be opening
May 31st. Nice, you really are prepared. And then it will be opening in Florida, I think, later in the summer.
And you said that's where they're making a resort area just for Star Wars at the Florida one?
Yeah, I don't know if that's in California or Florida, but they are also making an immersive 4-day hotel experience where you're yeah.
It's only 4 days? That's kind of a weird day scheduled to pick.
I agree, but 4 days to be 100% immersed, I don't know, you might go crazy.
Yeah, you probably would want to, bruh yourself after all that Star Wars.
Never what? You're going to be a Trek fan after that.
You'd be a Star Trek fan after that. But I think we both agree. Me and Brian have been talking about it since it came out in May 31st. We've been talking about all the attractions, all the new rides. We're pretty hyped. I think we're all going to go, probably as a friend group, one day to Star Wars Land, either one.
Yeah, we gotta get a big Sody Boys review.
Sody Boys review of Star Wars Land. But they have a lot of cool stuff. All the stuff looks pretty cool. It looks better than, the old... Brian, have you been to the old Star Wars attractions at Florida?
Yes, I've been on Star Tours in Florida.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it is just one ride.
And that's their only, Star Wars attraction at the old Disneyland is just Star Tours and a little shop outside of Star Tours.
Yeah. As compared to now, which is 14 acres of all sorts of stuff.
Disney endorsed trash.
So I gotta ask, the thing that intrigued me the most is some of the merchandise. Have you looked at everything you can buy?
I've looked at most of the stuff, but I'm pretty sure there's some stuff that a lot of people missed out on.
Yeah.
I'd say the two biggest things that people have been talking about is there's a lightsaber creating experience there. Mm-hmm. So it's like in a back alley, because the whole setup for the park is First Order versus the Resistance. So at the park, there's two areas. One side is for the Resistance, one's for the First Order. And the shop for the lightsabers is a back alley sort of hideout, like a cantina.
Yeah.
And you sign up on the side. You get a card. You have to wait maybe an hour or 2 hours because you have to pay beforehand, and just to buy the lightsaber, just to experience building a lightsaber. I think they have 6 different options, right, Brian? They have Jedi, Sith,
yeah,
natural.
They have they have a bunch of different lightsaber styles you can choose from, but then there's like a dozen different parts you can choose from in that style. So even if both of us chose to make a, Jedi nature one or whatever, Jedi one, yeah, we would still end up with different lightsabers.
And I think the coolest part is that the parts are all metal and they're not like plastic, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly the $200 is well spent. It's both in the quality of the actual product and just the experience itself. Apparently, it's incredibly immersive, and you learn a lot. And like, yeah, if the First Order walks by while you're picking out your parts, apparently the people running the place suddenly are like, oh, this is just old junk scrap metal. This is garbage. You don't even want to deal with this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I mean, it sounds great.
It looks really cool. And then, like you said, there's a guy in there training you to be a Jedi. He's talking about how Rey restarted the Jedi Order and stuff. And you can also help out with the Jedi Order. And then you could pick your crystals. You put it in the lightsaber. You build the lightsaber. And then you pretty much buy it. And I think it's like $200, right?
Yeah.
Around $200?
Yeah.
But you only get to pick one crystal. But then outside the store, they have a crystal shop. Where they also
can buy more.
Brian's like, I want to buy them all.
Yeah, so I mean, I've definitely already picked out the stuff I want to buy, even though... Have you seen anything in particular aside from the big experience just in the shops that you want to buy?
I want to get some of the outfits, because they have Resistance fighter outfits, they have First Order armor, but I think the Stormtrooper armor is like $6,000. They have Jedi robes, a bunch of stuff. I think that's the only thing I would probably buy is like costumes or props, because all the other stuff is like toys and candies and drinks.
I agree. I'm definitely drawn to the stuff. Everything in the park supposedly looks like it comes out of the world. But yeah, that's even outside of Disney parks. I'm really drawn to the stuff that looks like it's from the movie. So, I mean, just from all the stuff I've seen, the three things I really want to get, they sell little gold statues that look like... They're in Palpatine's office in the prequels, and it looks like just like a guy in a robe, and it's a little gold statue.
Is that like the Jedi statues? Or
yeah,
like Jedi statues or something too.
Yeah, I've seen those as well, and I think they're similar. But yeah, that's the one thing that I want. And then also, they have the wood Stormtrooper doll that you see Jin play with in Rogue One. I think that looks really neat. And then the final thing that I know I want to buy right off the bat is they have the restraining bolt that Luke puts on R2-D2 and then takes off so we can see the message. They have that as a refrigerator magnet.
That's pretty cool.
But it actually looks like it. That's one thing I want as well.
Yeah, I think we're both going for like more practical movie, like items that would actually be in the movies. Because I know they also have like the insignias and rankings for First Order officers and Resistance officers, and I think I would also get like they have the binding cuffs, that Jyn Erso wears, the metallic cuffs.
Yeah,
I think it's probably better to get stuff that's more practical than just like toys that you probably use once.
Yeah, I've seen. They also one of the stores is made up to look like a creature shop. But I mean, everything you buy, it's cool looking, but it's like, a little plastic Rancor or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably going to break in like a month. Yeah,
definitely. I can see that being really popular with kids, but, that's not the kind of thing I'm interested in.
Brian, did you see the $25,000 R2, life-size R2 unit?
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever get that, Brian, if you ever had $25,000?
I feel like if I had that much money to spare, I would just like hire someone who's really smart to like work with me so I could make my own. Like if you have that much money, I don't know, I'd want to be like I'd want to be into it. I'd want to like learn and make it, because there is the whole
an actual robot.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's the R2-D2 Builders Club that that's all they do. And I'm not an overly handy person when it comes to robots, so I'd probably need some help.
It moves, right, too, and it, like, beeps and does
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, supposedly it's all remote control, and you can control the head, and it rolls around, and noises and lights, and whatever you could want.
All the stuff you could want from a R2 unit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the better deal would probably just go for the build your own droid shop that's in Galaxy Edges too that we didn't talk about. It's also, I think, $200, and you get to like piece together your own robot or your own droid. It can be a BB unit, which is the circular soccer ball looking droid, or you can do like a classic R2 droid, and you can build the different colors. And they also have, I think, 4 or 3 different personality chips that interact with things in the park. There's a smuggler chip, a resistance chip, and a first order chip. And like, let's say you're in the resistance side and you have a first order droid. The first order droid would get like more suspicious and more cautious around the resistance actors or something like that.
Cool. Yeah, the interactivity of the park seems really interesting. Supposedly, with the Go Disney app, I feel like I'm an advertisement, but with the Go Disney app, you can scan crates and stuff, and it tells you what's inside of them, and you can like pick up transmissions and stuff. To the point where supposedly, when you're waiting in line for the Millennium Falcon ride, if you scan and do stuff with your app, when you get on the ride, it might give you like a step up in the ride. Like if while you were in line, if you were looking at the different parts and learning about the ship, your ride experience might be...
So it changes based on the stuff you do before the ride?
Supposedly, yeah.
That's really interesting. That's like the Harry Potter world, you know, the interaction with the wands and stuff.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about that, but yeah, that sounds the same.
Because you like interact with the world and do spells in the different window shops and stuff with your wand.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds really neat. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's plan the Sody Boys vacation.
Brian, I don't know anything about the ride. What's the ride about? Is it like Star Tours or?
No. So supposedly, okay, so it's 6 people in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, I've only seen like 4, or maybe I've been watching other.
It's 6, and you get assigned a role before you go on. You're either one of the 2 pilots, one of the 2 engineers, or one of the 2 gunners.
Why would you want to be an engineer? That's the lamest thing.
Yeah, supposedly that is. So the engineer, you need to like push all the buttons on the side and everything to when they light up, and you know, to keep the ship going. The gunners are shooting at stuff, and the pilots are flying. And I found it funny that you guys were in your E3 coverage. You were laughing about Flight Simulator because this is just Flight Simulator on a big scale.
So it's just a flight simulator of Millennium Falcon?
I guess. But then that as well, supposedly, how well you do on that ride also influences how you interact with the rest of the park. You might go into the cantina and get in trouble because you didn't do the ride well and stuff like that.
How do the actors know that? How would they, like...
It's all... Well, so I think you have to be using either the Disney app or whatever the Disney wristband thing they have going on is.
Oh, so they scan you through, like...
Yeah.
Everything you enter, they scan your wristband or app?
Yeah. And again, I think that's, optional, but...
So if you do really good, they're going to be like, oh, you're the legend that made it in, like, 5 parsecs or whatever.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, they do give you a rating at the end of like how well you did your job. Yeah, you get like a percentage of job well done. So like if you were the engineers and you didn't hit all the buttons, however many buttons you didn't hit, that'll take your percentage down or whatever.
Interesting. It's more interactive than like most rides.
Yeah, supposedly.
So it's way different than Star Tours then, because in Star Tours you just sit and watch stuff happen around you, and you don't really do anything at all.
Yeah.
So speaking of all those bars you can enter, Brian, did you see all the drinks you can get?
I did.
The blue and green milk. Why is the blue... So I was watching videos of the blue and green milk, and it looks like really chunky and weird for some reason.
Yeah, so I think it's more like a slushy than like actual milk. Yeah. I think it's like an icy or like a smoothie.
It's kind of weird. Why wouldn't they just go for milk? That'd be way cheaper and easier.
Yeah, I don't know, but like, I kind of get it because like walking around in the Florida heat, I don't know if I want a tall glass of milk per se, but maybe.
Franza, give me some milk. Get that boy some milk.
oh god, drink a bunch of that and then go on the Falcon ride.
And then puke.
Yeah. But then also, this is the first Disney park ever to have alcohol in it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that because they have all the cool like pork cups and shot glasses.
Yeah, supposedly it's a really expensive bar, but...
Well, Brian, it is Cantina, you know, there's a bunch of scum and villainy they gotta keep out, no droids.
Oh, so they raised the prices so that droids can't buy anything?
Yeah, I wonder if they yell at you if you bring, like, build your own droid in there, they yell at you saying no droids are allowed.
I don't know. You should work for the Imagineers, Kyle. You should pitch that to them.
That'd be a good idea. I mean, they probably say yeah.
I mean, they might. I don't know.
Is there anything else at the park? I'm pretty sure that we hit, like, the most interesting stuff.
We hit the big thing. Supposedly, a second ride is opening at the end of the summer.
Star Tours 2. Tours Strike Back.
No, it's like a simulator. You're, like, sitting in a little shuttle that's going through a big First Order ship. I don't actually know what the ride
Star
is.
Tours 2? That sounds like Star Tours.
It does, yeah. But yeah, another ride like that where you're just kind of sitting and watching things. I don't think it's not like a roller coaster or anything. Well, what would be your ideal Star Wars ride, Kyle? Right now, you're put in front of... I would say
a roller coaster, but it's like you're going through hyperspace. So you go through tunnel and you get like the hyperspace, you know, like blue streaks across.
Okay.
Go, like, that'd be sick. Don't you think, Brian? If you
that would be sick. Pitch to me the rest of this ride. Keep going. All right. So up the big drop hill, I'm seeing hyperspace lights as we're speeding up.
Yeah, we're speeding up. We go down. We pass like a bunch of ships. We see all the fights and stuff, I guess. And we just keep going through like different planets. Like each section of the roller coaster is a different planet from the Star Wars universe.
That'd be really cool. I'm in.
And then Ewoks poke you with a spear at the end to get you off.
And I do know. So Space Mountain, the ride in Disney World, is kind of like that, and I know they did a Star Wars overlay at one point, so it was Hyperspace Mountain.
They did.
And you had the lights. Yeah.
When was that? Like the 80s, 90s? I don't remember that.
No, they did. It's fairly recent. I don't know why they did it. I think it was before Disney even owned Lucasfilms, but they did like Star Wars weekends at the park or something like that. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I'd say the only thing that I really don't like about the park is that it's only focused on the sequel era trilogy.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of prequel. There's no prequel stuff. There's barely any original trilogy stuff at all.
Yeah, I mean there is a bit in the merchandise and stuff. I get that they had to choose an era, and that's what they went with. But yeah, I do almost. I mean, the old fan. I feel weird saying that I'm old, but the old guy in me wishes that it was Rebellion versus Empire as opposed to.
Well, that's the most iconic Star Wars stuff is the Rebellion versus Empire, not First Order versus the Resistance.
And I don't know. Maybe they're trying to get it to tie into Episode 9 in some way. They wanted to have an era they could control, and they're still making movies about. But yeah, I don't know. But really, that's a small thing. They still have an X-wing parked there. They still have,
tons of fun, tons of stuff to buy.
Yeah,
interesting characters to see. What else could you need? Well, Brian, I'll tell you what else we could need. A new Star Wars show that's coming out soon, aka The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Featuring the chef legend himself, Jon Favreau.
I did not know where you were going with that. Do you think Gordon Ramsay is in this?
Brian, haven't you ever seen the movie Chef?
I have not, but I know it's a Jon Favreau thing. It's
the best Jon Favreau movie ever made.
Yeah, I like Jon Favreau a lot. I like Swingers. I thought he did interesting things with the Jungle Book. I think he will be great, and some of the directors he has under him look fantastic. So
there's not a lot of stuff for The Mandalorian, is there? There's not a lot of stuff that's came out yet, right?
Yeah. Well, so did you watch the stuff that they showed at Celebration and we weren't supposed to see and
the preview?
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I know it takes place 5 years after Episode 6, correct? On Mandalore, or around Mandalore?
I think it takes place on Tatooine. I think they haven't actually announced it, but based on what we saw, I think he's on Tatooine.
But he is a Mandalorian, right? Or he has Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, he has the armor, at least.
So he could be like a Jango Fett type, not a real Mandalorian, but has Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Until we hear more, it's a lot of speculation. But, yeah, what kind of stuff do you want to see from that show?
I want to see stormtroopers, like small battles between the Rebellion, or I guess it'd be the Republic, the New Republic, and the what's it called, the ending of the Empire? The First Order.
First Order. You're talking about them wiping out the remainder of the Empire before the First Order?
5 years. So it'd be like Race.
Yeah, definitely.
What was and the guy before Snoke, who's like the advisor to the Emperor? I forgot his name.
Yeah. And what was the whole thing with like Hux's drunk father or whatever was
he was
supposedly
like
in charge
to be the new stormtroopers?
Yeah.
But the advisor, who was Rax or something like that, he was gonna blow up Jakku and kill all the New Republic people and also all the the dumb First Order people to make way for a new, better Empire. And Hux was a part of that. His father was.
Yeah, but so. Really, is that something you want to see? You want to see Rebellion versus Empire in the show?
New Republic versus the dying Empire. I think that'd be a lot more interesting than always seeing the Resistance versus the Empire, you know?
See, what I'm hoping from this show is that it's all, like, bounty hunters and underworld. I hope it doesn't deal too much with... the
Brian's
Empire and the
wants
Rebellion.
that Crimson Sun. He wants the Crimson Sun and the Black Syndicate stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That is what I want.
Clan Ooh.
Did you, since you brought all this stuff up, did you hear... so Solo 2, since Solo underperformed, Solo 2 is probably not happening. But Jonathan Kasdan, who wrote it, his son, who also assistant wrote it, basically said on Twitter that the plot of Solo 2 would be a giant war between Darth Maul's Crimson Sun, the Pikes, and the Hutts.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. And
I was wondering if that would be after Darth Maul died or before he died, because he dies at the end of Rebels.
Yeah, they are really handcuffed to that. I'm guessing that was supposed to be Solo 2, which would be before Maul died, I assume. But for The Mandalorian, I want to see more underworld stuff. Yeah, I'm sick of I'm sick of just seeing like every comic that comes out now is just like
Darth Vader.
Rebel pilot versus Empire. Like there's so much of that. I really think that the whole underworld situation is a big untapped gold mine, and I hope they kind of go there for a while.
Well, they still have Kira, so they could bring Kira back for the Mandalorian, because they can technically make her still alive for the Mandalorian show.
Yeah, that's true.
And she could be the new leader of Crimson Dawn. It could still exist, for all we know. We don't have all the details.
Yeah, really. I mean, she's no
slouch.
The actress who played her, whose name is now escaping me.
Amelia Clarke,
thank you. She's not shy to big budget TV shows. Cause she's
is true.
Yeah, so I don't think she'd be opposed to being in a TV show. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Well, Underworld, they could only really do the Hutts and the Crimson Dawn and Black Sun.
But I mean, you could make a giant story about any bounty hunter, which is what I feel like they're doing with this.
But I think it would have been easier to done with Jango Fett or maybe Boba Fett, you know? Because they're more recognizable, they have more of a storyline, a bigger fan base.
It is interesting that they didn't go that way.
Well, I know Boba Fett's going to be in it, because I know the guy who plays Boba Fett in Episode 2 is in The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah?
I think Daniel Logan.
Logan? Has he said that?
Yeah, he's in the IMDb for Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. Because he also voiced Boba Fett in the Clone Wars.
Yes,
and
he
played
did.
Boba Fett in Episode 2.
I did not know that he was going to be in The Mandalorian, but yeah.
Yeah, Boba Fett is in The Mandalorian. Well, right now he is, if the show still gets released.
Well, you think they're going to cancel it right now?
They might delay it a little. You never know with Disney.
Sure. So the other show that we know is coming is the Cassian Andor series.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Cassian Andor.
Yeah, I always forget about that one, too. I don't know. What do you want to see from that?
Brian, I'm really excited for that. I forgot that show is actually coming out. I really liked, what's
Diego Luna.
Cassian Andor?
Diego Luna. And supposedly Alan Tudyk has been announced as being in it as well as K2SO.
Huh. Isn't he dead? Oh, they're both dead.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think it would be interesting. I hope it doesn't end up being just something similar to the Rebels TV show, the animated show, but,
I think this one would probably be more spy-based, more secretive, and
sure,
more,
yeah.
like, dirty,
That's what I'm hoping for. I hope it doesn't end up just being a live-action, slightly grittier version of Rebels. I hope they do something, espionage and spy-related.
He did the guy in, like, the first 10 minutes of the movie, in the back.
Yeah.
In Rogue One, he talks about how he regrets like doing all those dirty stuff and wants to redeem himself. So I'm sure they'll show us those like unredeemable moments he had in the past.
Yeah,
as an assassin or spy or whatever he wants to call himself.
So we'll get to see Dirty Diego.
But Diego Luna is a good actor. I really liked him in Rogue One. He's probably the best part of the movie, to be honest. I totally forgot about that show, too. I forgot that show was coming out at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, even The Mandalorian, they really haven't done any advertising for it. Yeah. Which, I mean, Disney Plus is coming pretty quick. Supposedly that's coming out right in the beginning of November, so...
Are you going to buy it, Brian? Are you going to get Disney Plus, or...?
Yeah, I think I am. I don't... So, I'm on my parents' Netflix, and then Amazon Prime I pay for, not for the videos, I just pay for the Prime shipping.
Yeah, that's what I have as well.
Yeah, and so that just kind of... The videos come as a plus. So really, Disney Plus would be the first streaming service that I actually pay for. So yeah.
Do you know how much it costs per month? Is it like 13? 12?
No, they've announced it. I think it's like... I'd have to look it up, but it's shockingly cheap. It's like the cheapest streaming service so far. I'm Googling right now. Disney
Brian's
Plus
putting in that work.
Cost.
That hard work.
$7 a month.
Wow, that's really cheap, actually.
Yeah, that's really cheap.
That's really cheap for Disney. I thought they'd go for like $20 or $15 or something.
Netflix is currently $13 a month.
Yeah, exactly. I thought they'd go by Netflix.
See, that's why I think they're trying to get rid of Netflix.
Well, do they still have a lot of stuff on Netflix? I thought
it's slowly getting removed.
Because I remember Star Wars: The Clone Wars, which we'll be talking about later, was on Netflix for a very long time, and there's a petition to keep it on numerous times, and it always succeeded. But it finally, I think, got deleted this couple months ago.
Yeah, I think in April it was finally taken off.
Shame.
Well,
shame, Brian.
Yeah, it is. I got my Blu-rays, though. We're good.
So speaking of the Clone Wars,
yeah.
That's also a big announcement that's coming out, and they actually had a trailer for it, so that's pretty exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't already know, you could have watched all Season 7 online, because all the storylines got leaked, and all the unedited episodes are out on YouTube.
Yeah.
For Season 7.
Well, so that's the weird thing. So we basically know the 12 episodes of the Clone Wars that we're getting. Yep. The first 4 would be the Bad Batch arc,
Those are probably my favorite arcs.
Really, yeah.
Whole Season 7.
See, I watched the what is it?
The really rough edit.
Yeah, the rough animation. And it's good, but since we're only getting 12 episodes, I think that's a missed opportunity.
Do you think they're going to cut down on Because I think Bad Batch was like 6 or 5 episodes, right? Yeah, more than 4. Because it delved into Echo too, and
I think that was just. I think that was all in 4 episodes.
Huh.
But so then we know the 4 episodes after that are Ahsoka trying to make it on her own.
Oh, I thought it was the Utapau ones.
No, they're not doing those.
They're skipping the Utapau ones?
Yeah, which is a shame.
That's a big moment for Anakin. That's like
Personally, I would rather see those than the Bad Batch. But we're getting the Bad Batch. Then we're getting 4 Ahsoka episodes, and then the 4 final episodes with Ahsoka versus
the Mandalorian.
Mandalore. Yeah,
that one's gonna be cool because so those episodes are actually in the Ahsoka book or mentioned in the Ahsoka book,
mm-hmm.
and it gives you a lot more detail. If the audience didn't know, I'm sure Brian's read it already.
I have read it. Yeah, it should be really interesting. The one thing that really, I think the Clone Wars looks fantastic, especially when you get to the later seasons. But one thing they're doing to make it even more realistic is they've actually did motion capture on Ray Park, who played Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace, and they're using his motion capture for the lightsaber fighting in the show.
Wow. Who are they going to have for Ahsoka then? Are they going to
I don't know.
Actress? Or find like a martial artist or something? Maybe.
I have no idea. But yeah, they said that Ray Park is doing mocap for the show, so that'll be interesting.
I wonder how it's gonna end. I know it's gonna end, but I'm just wondering how they're gonna end it, you know?
Yeah. So it was said back when Clone Wars was first canceled, it was like officially said that in the final episode of the Clone Wars, Ahsoka was supposed to kill Maul. But we know now in canon that can't happen. So
because he survives.
Yeah, he's in Solo and he's in Rebels. So I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, wasn't there also Boba Fett episodes with Cad Bane too?
Yeah, there were Boba Fett episodes with Cad Bane. There were Wookiee episodes, which we're going to dive into why Yoda supposedly knows the Wookiees so well. He says in episode 3 that they're...
So it was Kashyyyk? It was a Kashyyyk battle before Kashyyyk episodes and they got rid of him?
Yep.
Oh my god.
There was all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Why would they only cancel the 12? They should do all of them if they already have them already scripted out and stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a waste.
I wish.
Come on. That's really bumming me out, Brian.
I gotta ask, did you listen to what was recently put out, the audio drama about Count Dooku?
No, I did not.
Okay.
What happened, Brian?
It's interesting. It's about
Is that the new Qui-Gon Jinn book and Obi-Wan?
No, it was only released on Audible, and it's not a book. It's like an audio drama, and it's Asajj Ventress investigating Count Dooku's past.
Is it the voice actor? Is it the same voice actors?
No, unfortunately not.
Can you give me some deets, Brian, about Count Dooku's past?
So, well, it goes into when he was a Jedi and why he decided to leave the Jedi Order.
So what happened? Can you tell me?
I'm not going to spoil it on the podcast.
How is it free? You said it's free, right?
No, it's free if you're an Audible member. Otherwise, I think it's like $15.
Is it on YouTube for free?
I don't know. You'd have to look around for it. But it's definitely interesting. It feels like a Clone Wars episode, only it's just audio and it's like 8 hours long.
Is this Asajj Ventress still alive? She dies, right? I can't remember.
Right. So this, I think it technically would take place like before the Clone Wars show. But
so really early on then.
Yeah. It's like it covers Count Dooku finding Asajj Ventress and all that kind of stuff.
I forgot. I remember when Ventress dies. I read the book. I forgot.
Yeah, spoilers.
But I'm sorry. Never mind. That was a good book too. I think. Yeah, they probably made a lot of books out of the ideas they had for the Clone Wars episodes they never made.
Yeah, so that book was 8 episodes of the Clone Wars, and then they did a comic book that was 4 episodes.
What comic book was that? Is that the Mace Windu one?
No, Maul, Son of Dathomir.
Oh, yeah, that one's really good too.
Yeah.
They should just make 8 seasons. There's no point.
They should just keep making the Clone Wars, I'm telling you.
That's like the only thing that kept Star Wars relevant from 2008 to whenever Force Awakens came out.
Yeah. And it's really a shame that the movie wasn't that good. The movie was pretty bad, because that turned so many people off to the series.
Yeah, the movie was really bad.
Yeah, I mean, starting around season 2, that show just took off, and oh, gosh. It's good stuff.
It just blew up.
It did.
And that's why there's so many fan petitions to get it back.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why it's been revived twice, you know? It's got a good fan following.
Fans till the end, Brian, right? Fans till the end.
Oh, yeah. So, speaking of shows coming up, are you excited for Resistance Season 2?
So, I actually just finished Star Wars Resistance Season 1 today. I watched the last episode.
Yeah?
I've actually kept up with the show because I think it's actually pretty interesting, even though at first I didn't like the art style at all.
Well, yeah, okay. Let's hear your mini review of Season 1 of Resistance, and then I'll give mine.
So Season 1, it takes a little bit to get going. The first half is pretty boring. It's just the main character going around, messing around. He's like a kid. He just messes around, does dumb stuff that makes no sense. He's trying to discover himself, discover his friends, classic stuff like that. But at the second half, it starts picking up with more the First Order coming to the place they live at, taking over. He's trying to set up resistance, he's going out with Poe Dameron and doing stuff, helping the resistance out, getting intel, and actually making himself useful to the resistance. And then at the end, it just really got me enveloped into the show when the stuff from The Force Awakens happens, and you just see all the characters' reactions. And he's from Hosnian Prime, so his whole family pretty much dies, and it's just seeing his reaction, seeing his grasp of what the First Order really is, and trying to help his friends and help his family get through this. It's a pretty good show at the end.
Okay. So I agree with your review for the most part. It started out very slow and then picked up near the end. If you're a fan of Star Wars animation and you've watched the Clone Wars and you've watched Rebels, definitely check out Resistance. I have nothing against the show. I get that it's for little kids. It really, at the end of the day, I just wish they had done something a little bit more relevant. Because it brushes up against the events of the movies, but it hasn't really done a ton to actually set up what the Resistance or the First Order is or anything. I like this show, but I feel like it's a missed opportunity.
That is true. It could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
But I think it's still pretty good for what it is.
Yeah, I'm definitely...
a kid show.
I'm curious where it's going to be going in Season 2.
Well, I'm sure it's going to tie into The Last Jedi and the Resistance being, destroyed and trying to find a new place.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, they could also... This is what I realized. They could also find Ezra at the end, because they're going off to somewhere they don't know in a hyperspace. They could find a bunch of the old Rebels cast and bring them along or something like that.
That'd be interesting, yeah. I don't know. I mean, since this show, it's definitely aimed at little kids.
Yeah, because it's a lot of slapstick humor.
Yeah, it's very slapsticky and over the top. I don't know if they'd tie it into something like Rebels, since that wasn't for little kids, but yeah, I don't know.
If they want to try to make it more well received, they'd probably try to combine it with other shows that are more aimed to teenagers and adults.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm surprised we haven't seen anything from that show too, because that should be starting up, just in a couple months here as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen any trailers or any reviews or any plot lines.
Although, to be fair, for Season 1, they didn't release a trailer until a month before it came out.
Yeah, and everyone hated it.
Yeah.
Because the art style looked weird compared to the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, I don't hate the way it looks. It bummed me out that when the show was first announced, they claimed it was going to be anime-inspired.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
It's not at all, really. I'm
it's
not a big...
Netflix anime-inspired.
It's the kind of 3D kind of with lines around it to sort of look 2D. Yeah, they didn't hit the nail on the head there, but yeah, I don't know.
I'll watch it, but I won't buy it or anything. I'll pirate it. I mean, I won't steal it. I'll watch it the correct way.
Exactly. Yeah, what's next after that? Episode 9?
Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, wait, I guess...
Called?
Yes.
I can't remember.
We skipped the video game.
Oh, which one? There's 2, Brian. 2.
There is 2.
Wait, do we really have to go over the Lego Star Wars? Because I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Lego Star Wars is.
Yeah, side note, there's a new Lego Star Wars game. Okay, that's covered. What do you think of Resistance so far? Because I'm not a big gamer, full disclosure for you Sody Boys listeners. I'm not a big gamer. What do you think of
Fallen Order? Or Fallen Order. Jedi?
Oh yeah, what did I say?
He said Resistance.
Oh, did Oh, sorry. The video game, Fallen Order.
I think it looks pretty good, Brian. It's like Uncharted. It's got that same type of vibe, like running around, fighting people. It seems like it's very story-based. And you just have to follow the story. It doesn't seem open world at all, which I'm okay with because I like story games better than open world games sometimes.
Sure.
But I think the lightsaber combat looks nice. It looks pretty real compared to other games. You can see like the char marks and the burn marks. But they gave him like a lot of powers that are like new to the canon. Like they gave him the force like slowdown of the bolts and stuff. Have you seen that?
The trailer? Yeah, I did see that, yeah.
So they're adding like a bunch of stuff from the new canon, which I mean is alright, but it's also like, you don't have to, but I mean it still looks cool, so I'll still play it.
I get that for a video game they need to add different, things you can do, fighting styles and all that sort of stuff. So I understand them adding in new stuff, and if they're going to add in new stuff, at least they pulled stuff from somewhere else in canon. They didn't just like make up, I don't know, crazy new moves or something. They
probably will too, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Make a new Force power.
Yeah.
But I hope it doesn't follow Force Unleashed and makes its own like path. I hope he just stays good and doesn't turn evil or something like that.
That's the one thing that Force Unleashed was fun, but it wasn't anything spectacular. It was literally just running around chopping stormtroopers. And
it was
that's
kind of boring.
From what I've seen from this, I kind of get the same vibe. I hope it's different, but...
Well, hopefully it won't be like Force Unleashed. Hopefully it'll have like its own identity that's not just slashing and hacking stormtroopers while you learn a little bit about the story.
Yeah. I like some adventure in with my action.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have like hubs where you can go explore the world and get gear or something like that.
Yeah.
But from the trailers they've shown, I haven't seen any of that. It's only been like action and cinematics and stuff.
Yeah.
And it takes place right before episode 4 probably, because there's still clone troopers. Saw Gerrera's still bald. He's still got his resistance or his rebel cell. So I think they'll probably like tie it into Rogue One and episode 4.
Yeah, I hope so. So just out of curiosity, so we know we have a Lego game, and we have Fallen Order coming out, which is a linear story game, and we've had Battlefront, which is a first-person shooter. You're a way bigger gamer than I am or ever will be. Is there any other sort of Star Wars game that you would want to see?
I like strategy games, but I have both Star Wars Empires at War, and it's pretty fun actually. You get to like control ships, you can build Star Destroyers, and the like TIE fighters come out, TIE bombers come out, and you get to like have these big capital battles that you wouldn't be able to have with like Lego Star Wars or Battlefront or any other game, because you're like the commander of the forces, which I think is a lot more interesting than just being like a soldier sometimes.
Yeah, how long ago did those games come out? How old are they?
That was like early 2000s.
Okay.
They're still pretty good graphics, and people keep modding them to make them better. So
cool. So you'd like to see a updated new canon version of that?
Yeah, like a strategy game.
Yeah, that'd be
just shooting and killing.
My favorite Star Wars strategy game. Did you ever play Star Wars Pit Droids? That was my favorite Star Wars strategy game as a kid.
Is that a pod racing game?
No. It's literally you play as Watto and you're trying to get pit droids. It's sort of like Lemmings, if you know the concept of the old game Lemmings.
No, I don't, Brian.
It's similar. So basically, there's a line of pit droids, and you're just trying to get them to go from point A to point B, but there's a bunch of obstacles, and you gotta like have them avoid. You're like you're putting down arrows on the floor to make them avoid the obstacles, but then there's also it gets kind of into a puzzle game type thing. It was a very odd game, and it was one of the things like a lot of stuff when Episode 1 was coming out, where they just sort of skinned it. Star Wars, they like had a game, and they're like, well, this could be Star Wars pit droids. It's very bizarre, but it's also fun. It was released as an app recently, it came out in 1999. It was released as an app maybe like 5 years ago, but I checked recently and they took it down.
Oh, what?
I know. Yeah, I played that for hours as a kid, and it was so hard.
Brian likes his pit droids.
I like my pit droids. I like pretending to be Watto.
Being a slaver.
All right, so yeah, strategy
they
game. They
should develop into different games besides like shooting and third-person adventuring games for Star Wars.
Yeah.
They should try, try new stuff that might be interesting, like puzzle games or strategy games.
Yeah, totally. All right, are we ready to get into Episode 9?
Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. So we've had one trailer for The Rise of Skywalker so far, and I really don't remember anything that happened in that trailer because it wasn't really... Oh, I remember the Emperor at the end. That was the only memorable part for me.
Yeah.
Was him laughing.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it was great to see the trailer, but it didn't show anything. It was just like, oh yeah, these characters are back.
And doing action stuff.
Yeah, there will be action. Yeah, so what do you think of the Emperor's return?
Well, it might not be his, physical return. It might be, a spiritual return in Kylo Ren or something.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of people think he's coming back, physically, but he could be a Force ghost. He could be influencing Rey. He could be influencing Kylo for the whole time. We don't know what this actually means. Or it could just be a tie to the Death Star that they found.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You covered all the bases right there. Yeah, it could be any number of things. I kind of hope he's back, as an actual being in the physical form. Because, one thing I keep hearing, and I definitely agree with, is Star Wars was based on Flash Gordon. And in Flash Gordon, Ming the Merciless never died. He kept dying, then it was and he's back. So, I do hope he's actually back to some extent. I don't know. I feel like it would be a cop-out if they tease him in the trailer and then he just ends up being a hologram or something,
Well, that's what he was in Battlefront 2. He was just the droid.
Yeah, that's true. Those kind of floaty wraith-looking things with the hologram faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were neat.
He could be that. He could just be one of those droids talking to Kylo or something. But the Knights of Ren, Brian, they're confirmed to be in Episode 9, so that's pretty exciting.
The Knights of Ren are back, yeah.
Well, they're never there. They're only there for, a flashback or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I think was a wasted opportunity in The Last Jedi to have, a more compelling evil force than just Kylo and Snoke.
Do you wish the Knights of Ren would have been, instead of the Red Praetorian Guards with Snoke?
Yeah, that would have made more sense. Because... Are they supposed to be elite? Aren't the Knights of Ren supposed to be, elite warriors? It would have been more, surprising, too, if they just killed off all the Knights of Ren instantly. Well,
so, what are some things you're hoping for in Episode 9?
No Rose Tico. Not because the actor's bad, because the character's bad.
Okay. I think they could do something interesting with her.
She hasn't been in any of the trailers, though, has she? I don't think she was.
No, I don't think she was either.
They probably just killed her off or something.
You find out she's dead at the beginning of it.
Maybe Finn had, accidental, poison on his lips when she kissed him. And she died of the Falcon.
He had radiation on him because that big laser was hitting him.
Yeah, she got radiation poison.
But Finn's fine.
Yeah, Finn's alright. He's a main character. He's got love. I hope Captain Phasma doesn't come back to life.
Okay.
And I hope she's just dead.
Sure, that's fair.
I also hope Snoke's dead. I hope he doesn't come back either. I hope it's just Kylo by himself.
That's fair as well.
What else? I hope Leia dies. I hope she dies too.
Interesting.
They really don't need her, you know? She's already dead in real life for how many years? 2 years?
Yeah. I don't know. If they are actually wrapping up the saga, like they're, in the near future, they don't plan on making any movies immediately afterwards, they might as well keep her alive, in my opinion. But, yeah, I don't know.
Do you want her alive, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, why not?
If she can't act, or if she... How do they have all these scenes with her if she's not alive?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing it's probably going to be like one main scene where they somehow creatively reuse footage.
Lando's back too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I wonder what they're going to do with him. And really, I'm wondering what they're going to say he was doing. Because, in The Last Jedi, they, put out the call and nobody answers.
Yeah, no one came.
So why didn't Lando
come? Lando was, he was hitting up with all the robot chicks.
He was too busy with the ladies?
With the ladies. Well, and robots. Do you remember, Brian? He likes robots in Solo, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He's
too busy with all the objects in Star Wars.
He's hitting on the objects. Yeah, yeah, I have no idea where they're going to go with him. The one thing I really hope they do is that they do some flashbacks, because there's definitely some questions.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. I mean, so they kind of explained that Luke went into exile because of what happened with Kylo. But they don't explain why he left a map, or
why he gave up,
how he left a map, or why he decided to go to the location of the first Jedi temple. I don't know. I don't know. I think they have to do some sort of flashback.
Yeah, how do they explain? He's like, I give up, but I'll leave a map. I'll leave 2 maps. And then I'll go to a place. That. And I hope I won't get found, but if I get found, I won't help the people that found me. That makes no sense. What's the point of leaving a map in the first place?
Why did he leave a map? That's the biggest thing about the sequel trilogy that just does not add up, in my opinion.
He says, leave this map. Oh, wait. I did it by accident.
I don't want to be found, but here's a map. I don't know. They might explain it if there's a good flashback.
Yeah, but if they're smart enough to do that.
Yeah, who knows? So, beyond Episode 9, what do you hope to see?
Beyond it?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean, Brian?
The next movies.
Next movies? I think they should be done after Episode 9 with movies.
Well, they already
just
said
go
they're
for
making
TV shows.
I do agree. I do think TV is going to be big in Star Wars' future. I think that's a hot format right now with all the big shows.
Yeah, like Game of Thrones, you get an hour-long episode.
It's
instead of an hour-long movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree that TV's the way to go. But we do know they're making more movies. What do you hope to see?
Aren't they making an Old Republic series, right? For movies or TV? I heard that was in the works.
There was a quote from Kathleen Kennedy where she was like, oh, that's been discussed along with a lot of other things of potential projects. But so, it was her way of saying maybe.
Maybe. I want more Clone Wars stuff, because I was born around the prequel era, so like early 2000s, 1990s. And they really don't dive into that a lot, except with the Clone Wars. That was the only major project where they actually delved into the Clone Wars and didn't try to ignore it. Yeah. I want more movies about that. I'm interested in that stuff. I think it's cooler seeing all the clone troopers and stuff.
I definitely agree with you. The Clone Wars, I love the prequels, but the Clone Wars gave them so much more just context and breathing space. I'm
and they looked way cooler, and they made sense, and the stories made sense. Finally.
Yeah, it added so much. And it's there's so many different directions they could go with stories in the prequel era. But I think Disney's just afraid because of the stigma that the prequels have that I don't think they're going to be...
all the backlash they started.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be putting out any prequel era movies anytime soon.
That is true. They'll probably just stick to the sequel era and the original trilogy era.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What else is coming up in... Is there anything you wish Disney would do differently with Star Wars in the future?
Differently? Oh, it's hard, Brian. I want them to go like darker topics. I want them to go into darker stuff instead of like glossing over it. Like if someone dies, they say, "Oh, they were just stunned because they have armor on" or something like that. I want them to like actually die and actually feel loss.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And like be darker and grittier, like how an actual war would be.
That's interesting. Yeah. The thing I hope they do more in the future is they release more behind the scenes stuff, because I've always loved the Star Wars behind the scenes stuff, but they've put out Disney's being very, very secretive. Really the only documentary we've got was on The Last Jedi, and the only behind the scenes book we've got was for Solo. And I get that there's a lot of controversy, there have been director switches and stuff, but I just wish they would put out more behind the scenes stuff.
Does that interest you, Brian? The behind the scenes of making the movies?
Yes, very much. Almost, I mean, I'm more... Looking at my big Star Wars shelf in front of me, it's mostly just behind the scenes stuff. That fascinates me to no end.
Interesting, Brian. Interesting.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about that concerns Star Wars today, Brian?
Well, okay, we went into the future. Let's go into the past a little bit. How were you introduced to Star Wars?
Oh, Brian, do you want to talk about this? I started with Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones.
Did you see it in theaters?
I saw it on my VHS over and over again until I watched it about 100 times. Nice. That's the most Star Wars movie I watched, is Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Hey, nice.
Arguably, probably the worst Star Wars movie they made.
I agree, but hey, it's if you liked it, there's nothing wrong with that.
I just liked all the clone stuff. That was probably the coolest part, was watching the bounty hunters at the beginning and the clones at the end. It's probably the only good parts of the movie too.
Yeah, for me, I wanted to learn to play the piano, but my parents didn't want to buy a piano. Like before they wanted to see if I was into it before buying a big piano. So they bought me a little electric piano, and the little electric piano could teach you how to play songs. And one of the songs on there was themed to Star Wars. And I was just playing it. I didn't know what it was. And my mom goes, "Oh, these were these movies that your dad was into back when he was a kid. You should play that when he comes home from work." And I did. And then that night we watched Star Wars. And I got into it from there.
Hey, there you go, Brian.
There we
off
go.
young.
That's the origin story.
Brian's origin story. Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight or today, whenever you're watching this. This has been the 3rd episode of the Kyle's Korner podcast. I just wanted you guys to have a good day, relax, open a cold one, and Brian, would you like to say goodbye to our guest?
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, you need help.
Yeah, you need help. It's too much Star Wars for everyone. Okay, bye.
Bye.